Good morning. My name is John Palumbo. My pronouns are he, him, and I am your worship associate today. And I am very excited for today's service. Welcome to our service. In this sacred space, we celebrate our humanity, our diversity, and the boundless love that unites us. While our minister, Reverend Christine Dance, is away from the pulpit today, we are so lucky to have Teo Suapaia with us as service leader, who will share with us about connecting with our culture. The Unitarian Universalist congregation of Phoenix strives to be a spiritual community for our time, one that is theologically diverse, radically inclusive, and justice-centered. Our doors swing wide to embrace all who seek a welcoming place. May our worship today be a source of inspiration, a comfort in challenging times, and a call to action. If you are new here, a hearty welcome to you. We encourage you to come back several times as our services are different each week. Our guest musicians today are Connie Yarmarkt and Karen Quinn, who Karen stepped up about 10 minutes ago to do this, so very thankful for her. And Connie was our congregation's music director for many years. Please feel free to stand as we sing along with her our opening hymn, "There is a River Flowing in My Soul."
Please remain standing.
Please remain standing as we recite our covenant, and Mimi and Jasper and Julian light our chalice. If you are watching remotely and have a chalice with you, please light it with us. Love is the doctrine of our congregation. The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to share our strength in covenant. Thus do we covenant. Before you sit down, please wave to our folks on Zoom. And take a moment to turn around and smile at your neighbors. You may be seated. I have one announcement today. Today's drop-in de-stressing group is canceled due to unavailability of the facilitator. That is just for this week, so other drop-in groups will happen as scheduled. And now I'm pleased to welcome Teo Suapaia to our pulpit for the first time. Teo, please open our service.
Our opening words are from Tukifai. We may have lost tradition, the visual language, and our connections to the tools and its stories, Angai Tala. But we have the Va, or the Kafa, that binds us in history. Yes, there are efforts to revive, but that revival can only be reconnected through the understanding of our Va. Va was never colonized because it is alive and breathing. I invite our children, youth, and adults who would like to come forward for Together Time.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you guys so much for coming down. My name is Miss Blake. My pronouns are she and her, and I am the Director of Children's Ministry here at UUCP. I'm very excited for this particular service. If you haven't met Teo yet, I would encourage you to. I am a little bit biased. Teo is my partner. Yeah, I happen to really enjoy Teo and spending time with him. But Teo has shown me so much about a culture that I knew nothing about. I've told you guys a little bit about myself before. I'm from the American South. My family was there for generations. It's not a very interesting story, but it's one you probably already know. But Teo Teo's dad is from Samoa, and he's going to talk more about that this morning. But Teo has introduced a lot of really cool ideas to me that I just wasn't aware of, and one that we're going to talk about today, and I kind of want to talk a little bit more about this morning, right now, during this portion of our service. But it's this concept of Va, and that's just spelled V-A, and I'm probably mispronouncing it, as simple as the word may seem. But this concept, I found it really interesting. In my view, as Teo was describing this to me, I really had no idea how to equate it to anything. Honestly, at first, my first thought was like, isn't this the Force from Star Wars that you're describing? Which, not a great comparison, but it's the comparison I could pull from, right? It's the one that was in my mind at the time. But this idea of Va, this idea of the space that we share, the community and the connection that we have, and all the ways that that plays out. What I found really interesting about this idea is it's not limited to things like family or friends or like people you know directly, but it's linked quite directly to just anyone we share space with, anyone that we may interact with. So it got me thinking, what are some of the more unusual connections that we may have with people, right? And one of the ones I thought of was like, what about when we share an elevator with someone, right? That's a space to share. We may not know that person, but we might step into that elevator with some sort of intention of being well-mannered, some sort of intention of being, quote unquote, not our weirdest self today, right? Maybe you've had that experience. And so we may be very intentional about that. And we have those opportunities to be in community, in connection with one another, without even really knowing one another, right? We have the chance to be respectful, courteous, and kind, even when we may not have any sort of other reason to do that other than just sharing the space with someone. So this morning I would love to ask you, what are some other interesting connections that we may have with people that we don't really think about? Another idea I had was maybe sharing like a public space with a stranger, right? Maybe it is going into a new classroom and going into that classroom with just the intention of being our best self, the self that we want to be. Maybe it's a new job. But in all of those, we have opportunities to let our own values come through, to let our own, to let our own values and our own important perspectives, allow those to come through in those moments. Thank you guys so much for coming up. Let's head back to our seat, and John and Teo are going to continue our service.
Each month, our congregation selects a local organization that takes action on issues in alignment with our UUCP values, and we share our offering each Sunday. This gives us the opportunity to learn about the organization, reflect on your level of interest and appreciation for what they are doing, and act to support them, either by donating to the offering and service or online, or by finding out more about them, perhaps to volunteer, or consider another way of contributing to their work. It is an opportunity to learn, reflect, and act. Service is our prayer, and one way of being centered is social justice. We are extending our July Share the Plate partner, the Safe Communities Coalition, securing space for all for one more week. This is an innovative and new, inclusive and united initiative that protects, trains, and monitors diverse faith spaces of worship and historically targeted communities. They are committed to fostering secure environments where all individuals, regardless of their background, identity, or beliefs, can practice their faith and live in peace. And I was told they also refer to them as kicking out Nazis from the desert. So, love it. For all that you give, we are so grateful. For ushers, thank you for your willing hands in helping us pass the plate. We recognize that our lives are interconnected. Part of our journey as a community is sharing our significant milestones, joys, and sorrows. If you're on Zoom, you can put a note in chat. If you're in person and want us to read your joy or sorrow next week, fill out our cards before service at the small table in the back of the sanctuary. From Marlene and Rob Katz, they're concerned about the Spokane wildfires, where their son, daughter, in-law, and grandbaby live. Copper the horse was safely evacuated. Hopefully the wind will die down soon, and we hope the wind will die down soon for all of the wildfires, both in North America and in Europe. From Abigail, on Thursday, she is taking the national licensing exam so she can originate loans for people's mortgages, and she asks us to keep her in her thoughts, and you are in our thoughts, Abigail. And from Tiffin, Tiffin is starting first grade, which is apparently the best grade ever, according to Tiffin. Tiffin, we are so excited for you and look forward to a wonderful year in first grade. And from Julia Dalite, sad to be stuck at home for a while after a knee injury on Wednesday, hoping for good news next week with the specialist. And we hope for that good news and that you heal quickly, Julia. May our joys and sorrows, those named and those held in silent sanctuaries of our hearts, help us draw closer and care for each other.
This first music video is by Mema and Tupe. They sing an old Samoan folktale called Sau Fingasina.
Aloha, my name is Tupe, and I'm Mema, and we're going to be singing Sau Fingasina for you. Hope you enjoy it. Sole tui sa
All right. As is so often the case with a white person in the U.S., it is difficult for me to connect to my heritage. So much of my ancestors' focus has been on assimilating to American culture, and also my lineage goes to many different countries around Europe. The last name Palumbo is Italian. Yay. And my Italian lineage is the easiest for me to trace. My paternal grandfather was born in a small mountain village in Italy and moved to the US as a child. But my grandfather was focused on assimilating. He never talked to me about his childhood, and unfortunately, he died when I was young. My paternal grandmother, being from a good Irish Catholic family, was one of 11 children. But unfortunately, my father was estranged from his mother, so I didn't have any opportunity to connect to that very significant side of my family. I did grow up connected to my mother's side of the family, and they have German, English, and probably a little Irish background, but they go back generations in the US and were thoroughly Americanized. When I was 5 years old, to add to things, my father joined the Air Force and we moved away from family. And although we always visited family in the summers, over time I could feel that connection start to weaken. And once I was adult, what did I do? I joined the Army and moved away again. And one of my great fears is I've caused an even greater disconnect for extended family, heritage, and culture for my children. As a historian, I've always had a strong yearning to connect with my past, and I found small ways to do so. I follow the community page of that small village in Italy, which is very cool. And through the community page of the area where my father grew up, I've managed to connect with extended family that I never knew before, including many from the Irish side. And I have helped my children to connect with their Guyanese culture, as that means more to them just because they're closer to it. My mother-in-law and father-in-law immigrated from Guyana as adults. And because, honestly, they wear it every day on their skin. So I don't feel very connected to my cultural heritage, but I am closer than I was before, and I will continue to strengthen that connection for the rest of my life. Thank you.
This next song is called Ole Taolunga, and it's played by Island Vibes.
Talo falava o Island Vibes lene o le amato fa'afiafia ato le pese o le tawalunga. Usi mai alo si stila malo mai moa.
Ole tawalunga, ole awhai umea uma. Ole tawalunga, ole awhai umea uma. Ole mali ese mai ua matangofi whaawai lo tino, tasio tana fo e manino. Ia fata mali, uana o e lava e sili. Ole nesi au ma o te tau tino atu e sili o le siva Samoa. A whaila e te fia tali tonu, so ia se e mai moa. O si ona whainga e whesui sui a ia le tuma o se mea ta si le ngata i le se e tino a whaamane e. Ole sole na, ha
So seta siva etutu saima tama mateine siva malea tata ole sua mamaluna valilo fia fia isio siva Samoa.
Polinisia ma o te tau tino atu e sili o le siva Samoa. A whaela e te fia tali tonu sawia se e mai moa. O si ona whainga e te sui sui a ia e tu mau i se mea ta si e lenga tai le se e tino a whaamane e ne o te le tala ole e sili sili tama ole lole e ala la po fai sau sofe matunu fava e sau kofe a walo mane I mole tamo e fava ve male ofe e seu mai se ngatala ma se sa fole e tali ai olo upopole tango mai a fusi atu au ma fana fana lo fatu na o tango atu lea opo mai oi ma popo fa moe moe tango mai a fusi atu au ma fana fana lo fatu na o tango atu lea opo mai oi ma popo fa moe moe e seu mai singa tala ma se sa fole e tali ai olo upopole tango mai a fusi atu au ma fana fana lo fatu na o tango atu lea opo mai oi ma popo fa moe moe tango mai a fusi atu au ma fana fana lo fatu na o tango atu lea opo mai oi ma popo fa moe moe.
Hello, my name is Teo Suapaia, and my pronouns are he, him. I'm very honored to be talking here today. Today I want to share my personhood with you, to connect with you all. I feel so welcomed in this space, and I thank all of you for your kindness and openness, which you have created here. I first want to tell you a story. That's how it all starts off. Back before I was born, both my parents were attending an LDS ward in Oceanside. For those of you who don't know, LDS stands for Latter-day Saints, and ward is another word for congregation. My parents met there. The bishop at the time was Hawaiian, but most of the ward was Samoan. He would greet his ward with a big talofa. In response, the congregation would say talofa lava. Talofa is the welcoming phrase for hello. It also indicates that the person saying it is sending love and respect to the recipient or recipients. The connection of language is strong. When we practice speaking to someone in their mother tongue, we are trying to connect in a meaningful way. In my mind, this action is saying, I see you and want to share with you. Saying talofa lava in response gives the same love and respect back. I want to practice with you all, if that's okay. I will say talofa, and you will respond with talofa lava. So, the talofa, and then lava, okay? So, talofa. Talofa lava. Thank you. Really appreciated that. I grew up LDS in Salt Lake City. My mom is half Mexican and white. My dad is Samoan and part Chinese. It was a difficult time trying to fit in when I was young. Neither of my parents were connected to their culture. My mom's father, who I call Papa, wanted my mom and my aunt to be raised white, to acclimate to American values. My dad felt the same way about his culture. I look back now, and the times I have been in these spaces, Mexican, Samoan, or white, my siblings and I stood out. We even had a Taolunga teacher, dance teacher, which my aunt had set up for us. She told us our hips were not of us Samoans, and we wouldn't be able to dance properly. We only had one session with her. Later on in my childhood, I was told that my dad, uncle, and aunt were left in California when my dad was in his mid-teens by my grandparents. My dad had grown up in Samoa and moved here to the United States when he was about 13. His home life was one which was strict and abusive. He had also been bullied by his peers at school in Samoa for being part Chinese. It was then I knew that talking about my culture with my dad was a painful topic for him. As a child and teen, there were very few opportunities to indulge with that side of my family. My uncle Arona, my dad's brother, was usually the one who would take us and my siblings to events and make us traditional food out of his umu, which is an earth oven. These are very special memories I have and thankful for. So what is this sermon about? I want to speak about my personal and research experience. I want to talk about the va, the translation meaning the space in between, and the Teo Leva, which establishes and respects the space relationship between community, culture, and family. Teo Leva is a practice of keeping familial and community ties. Va, meaning the physical space between two people or things, such as their environment. It is a philosophical interpretation of how one connects to others and in turn connects to oneself. Anthropologist Malani Ane writes in her research paper on the topic. In her paper, Teo Leva, Dr. Ane gives a methodology on how to better understand Samoan and Pacifica culture, which strays away from Western perspectives, which have not taken into consideration how interpersonal these relationships are between a person and their family, their culture, and overall existence. She says, standard ethics discourse goes some way in coming to know the bones of the person in the general context. But in this relational ethics, we are called to put the anu, the flesh, on the bones of personhood, recognizing our commitments to each other and inhumanity of relationships. I feel this is important. We as humans, no matter what culture or area in the world which we hail from, want to know where we belong in the world. We all have this desire and need to know how to relate to one another, and from there we can expand upon our existence. In this context, being Samoan, there is a specific name for this, and it is va. Samoan and Polynesian cultures have a hierarchical social structure. In a family, each person has a role which ties them to their ainga, so the family, and their outer community. Siblings, based on when they are born to a family, are given specific roles. Sisters and brothers also have a strong tie and responsibility to one another. Dr. Ane goes further into these roles and on an academic scale, the model in which we should be mindful of. Here she states, my fa'a Samoa upbringing and my valuing of Samoan culture references in acknowledging the centrality of ainga, va tupia, sacred relational spaces, and va fealoi, spaces between relational arrangements. Tatua, to serve, fa'afolole, to respect, fa'ainga, special covenant between brother and sister and their respective lineages. Ngafa, which is genealogy, lotu, church, and the fahafa matai, which is the chief system. These acts of reverence for family, ainga, and the community is crucial to understand Samoan culture. It was something which I was eager and hopeful to be a part of, and in a lot of ways I have been. The first song which played was Safunga Singa, tells the story of how the whainga was brought to be. It is a folk tale which displays the importance of brother and sister relationship. The song goes that the sister, Sina, is wanting to marry a rare bird. Her twin brothers go out to find him so they can marry. They tell her not not yell or to go out, for the vine monster, Tui Ole Tufui, will come and get her. She waits and waits, but cannot help yell out to her brothers. Tui Ole Tufui comes into the house and captures her. When her brothers return and see the vine monster, they run, all except one. The youngest, who then defeats the vine monster and saves his sister. This is how the sacred bond between a brother and an older sister is said to have started. The relationship between the younger brother and sister is one of respect and loyalty. The brother is to care and watch over his sister to make sure that she is safe at all times. This includes practices such as serving food to his sister and waiting until she's done eating before he can eat. There's another practice for funerals, and these are for traditional and ceremonial traditions. I was getting my bachelor's in anthropology when I started this journey of practicing Va. I met two professors who would open my eyes to a world I had been dying to connect with, to be a part of. I was exposed to my culture, my language. The hole in my chest was getting filled with knowledge which I had never experienced before. I was able to work under these two professors, Dr. Bell and Dr. DePaulo. Dr. Bell was teaching an oceanic course, which I took immediately after finding out I could. Dr. DePaulo was the linguistics professor. I thank her dearly for giving me the opportunity to fall in love with linguistics. Dr. DePaulo had also introduced me to a group including her, Dr. Bell, and a graduate student, Lisa Johnson. She has since graduated and is now Dr. Johnson. These three people included me in the research they were conducting. At that point, I thought I made it. Working under two professors and a professor-to-be was amazing. I was able to conduct and interview and transcribe the data I collected, all revolving around Samoan language. I was over the moon. I felt like I belonged and that my culture was closer to me than I ever could imagine. Around the same time, I had reconnected with my father after a falling out when I was in my late teens. It was special in a way, but there was still hesitation from both parties. When I told him the research I was doing and the classes I was taking, he didn't seem overjoyed like I had been. At the same time, he didn't push the notion away. I had been asking around for Samoan speakers whose first language was Samoan. This brought my father and me closer, and my uncle Arona as well. I interviewed both of them and were friends of my uncles. It was a beautiful experience, and yet I was warned by both of them to be careful, to be mindful, and respectful. My uncle told me that a lot of Samoans who moved to the island, from the islands to here, were very proud and could be prejudiced because of my lack of knowledge of the culture. My dad was more blunt and said Samoans were mean and brute-headed. It was something I knew and had experienced as a child, and had also seen on social media, the phrase plastic Samoan, meaning that people who didn't grow up in the culture and values were seen as fake, or not true to our culture. But I wanted to meet my interviewers as they were, whether or not they were prejudiced against me. And the lack of faith on my family's part, I was greeted with smiles and happiness. A lot of elders I interviewed were very happy that I was interested in our culture and wanting to learn our language. It was then I started to rethink my position as an outsider, but as one of my people. While I was working on collecting Samoan recordings, I felt like I was practicing Teo Leva, that I was trying to bridge this space to understand my meaning and my family, community, and larger world. It was after I graduated from the University of Utah, that I told my dad that I wanted to take Samoan classes to learn more. He told me that I was better off learning Spanish since it was more practical. His lens was one of a capitalistic standpoint, not one of the soul, the cultural connection. He dismissed the notion of furthering my research within Oceania peoples. The research I did, and one that he was involved in, meant so much to me. I stopped bringing up my goals and questions about my family back in Samoa. It seemed like he wanted to move past it after I was done collecting recordings. This distance grew more after I came out as trans. It was the same lost feeling I had when I was young. Disconnected in this way, my crumbling relationship with my father also had strong implications of disconnection with my culture, to my grandparents and family back in Samoa, and to me. The Teu Leva, which I was practicing, seemed to stop after I graduated, and my research was put on hold. My ties with my dad and uncle were not the same after me coming out. And although there are third and fourth genders in Samoan culture, I also identify as Whahawhatama, the way of the man. My father and uncle have forgotten this practice and have viewed LDS standards as more of an appropriate way of life. And for years, I felt really, really lost. The sacredness of family was gone. I could not hold on to it. I felt like I was at square one again. But, and I always love a but, I was not alone, nor my experience a novel one. I found a community, and not just a trans community, but also a queer Pacifica one. I found a group called Nua Nua Collective. They were like me, shared stories on Instagram of feelings I was experiencing, the lost connection to our family ties and to our ancestors. But they were proof that we could all still connect. They gave me the power back to keep my heart open to my culture and even to my dad. It was like the light came back on. The hurt I had after my undergrad years, feeling as if my link to my culture and heritage had been ripped away, actually wasn't. There were and are so many like us who are our first, second, third, and so on generations, who are disconnected like I was. And the thing is, when there is a diaspora, things shift and change, and they're not the same. Every diaspora is like this. This is because humans adapt. Our cultures adapt and change, and we take in new ideas and values from other cultures as well. All of this to say is that we are constantly changing and growing. And with new ideas and values, we can help grow the communities we are in. That is what I had found. I had found my va, a reverence for our ancestors, but also a new way of distinguishing what my queer Pacifica folks and I are experiencing here, in real time in a westernized society. So with this, what I want to say to you wonderful and beautiful people, do not lose hope in what you think is lost. Whether it is trying to reconnect with your heritage or by connecting with a community you thought you were too distant to rekindle, you have the power, your va. The sacred space in which you can make and build off from. It might look and feel different, but it is that connection and aspiring to repair or revisit those bonds which are important. We are human, we are social beings, and with that comes the inherent need to make community, to connect. We all have this space that might be needing more of that, and we have it within us to reach and build it. Thank you all so much. Whahawhatai ma'ia whamanuia atu la atua. Thank you and God bless.
We close with a song about reconnecting to our ancestors. Please rise in body or in spirit.
Sings to the
After service ends, noon activities will be listed on the screen. Please join us for coffee hour and food and refreshments in our community space just across the patio. While there is no formal children's programming in the summer, we will have activity tables set up in the Johnson Room. Teo, please close our service.
By Tibetan scholar Chokam Chuampap, we do not have to be ashamed of what we are. As sentient beings, we have wonderful backgrounds. These backgrounds may not be particularly enlightened or peaceful or intelligent. Nevertheless, we have soil good enough to cultivate. We can plant anything. Thank you. Go in peace and go in love.